You don't have to eat like slaves anymore because we're not slaves.
If you cannot control what you eat, then you cannot control what you feel.
Eat your largest meals in the middle of the day, not the end of the day.
What part the homeostasis plays, you're on your way to healing yourself. The homeostasis is the internal environment where your body is at its ultimate functionality for healing. Just keep in mind that everything that is happening to you is happening for you.
Hello, and thank you all so much for joining us today here in the Mind of Nature, hosted by Dr. Zarif, the nutritionist. And today's topic is the best drinking water for you. Thank you all so much. Welcome back. Come on back into the stream. I know we had some technical difficulties earlier, but we are back. So thank you all so much for joining us today. And thank you for joining us on this Mother's Day weekend. So happy Mother's Day to all the beautiful mothers out there. Dr. Zarif, if you can join me here on stage, we'll do it again.
All right, we're doing it again. And thank you so much. Thank you very much, Kara, for your patience and support going through that, because sometimes, like when you're throwing the wrench, you can either use it as a tool or it'll land right on your head and just mess everything right up. So it's really, really great to be back in those few minutes. We're dealing with this. We're talking about what's happening with our water. So I want to go ahead and get right into it. And those that really want to hear it, it will be here for you to hear. This is really, really something. Thank you very much, everybody. Sweet Pea, thank you for being here this morning. Thank you, Sophia Jackson, Sophia. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We have people, Nurse Cheryl Lee. I'm sure she'll be back in a few, but this is perfect. Perfect is perfect. So it's all beautiful. We're going to go ahead and we're going to get right into it. I want to talk to you about this water situation, because as we learn more about ourselves, we really realize that, we are mostly water and electrolytes, and we're vibratory and many things. When it comes to our tap water, we want to talk about the waters that we're talking about, the water that is actually in our neighborhoods, the municipal water is also called. And is it safe for us? And if it isn't safe, what can we do to make some changes on it? Okay, so let's pump it out. And we're talking about water. Now, H2O is what we know it by, but there are other types of water. Now, most of this water is H2O, but lately there's been other experiments that people are, and I think we're supposed to explore so that we can get the best out of this life and to improve it. However, no one has come up with a way to improve water, to make something other than water or something better than water. Now, a pipe water supply of tap water is found everywhere, from the water that flushes down our public toilets to the water that comes out of the kitchen sink or cleans the glassware in our dishwasher. Some of the pros about the tap water, coming right out of the fountain, is that many people actually turn their noses up at the idea of drinking water out of the tap water over the taste and the safety concerns. The truth is that tap water is safe to drink. First of all, I just want to say that, because many people feel like if it doesn't come from one of these, is no good. And this is because of the great work that the marketing or water marketing has done. And they've said this to us many, many times so that we can kind of run away from using the tap water. I don't drink tap water. Well, you know what? Tap water is drinkable. and that's drinkable across the United States. What's more is tap water isn't only good for you, it's cheaper to buy than buying the various types of bottled water. And you can buy your own filter and make the same product that you're buying for more money. Guess which one costs the most? Not the water, but the bottle that is holding the water. So the packaging has so much to do with what we're charged for this. Okay. Now, some of the cons that would stand out would be, while there are, industry regulations in that they are, the regulations are in place that are meant to keep the lead of other harmful, the lead or some of the marketing things that are happening. We have a lot of, we have to take in, like, for instance, plastic was replaced with better material. And then other things that we found out, like the pharmaceuticals and lead and other harmful substances from contaminating the water supply. And sometimes this doesn't work at all because we need to have special filters in order to remove some of these substances. The public water supplies can also contain pesticide residue. It can contain aluminum and other undesirable substances. So if however you look at this, there are different treatments to be performed on the water supply when the water supply isn't up to par. So as I said earlier, there are companies that sell the soft water. We'll get into that later. And there are also companies that will bring you out purified water and distilled water. But you can start off by using your home filtration system for further cleansing. Now, we'll get right into the different types of water. Mineral water. When we talk about mineral water, this is water that's poured from the mineral stream, or the mineral water is, as the name states, full of minerals, including sulfur, magnesium, and calcium. And all things that are good for you, that's what we'll find in the water. That's why we can't live without it. Some of the pros here have the mineral water does indeed have some health benefits, since it provides minerals for your body that your body can't create on its own. Now, it can also help aid in digestion, and many people even like the taste of the open tap water, but some people don't, because it depends on what part of the country you live in and where you go. Sometimes you'll smell this water that it might be reeking. It smells like boiled eggs, or rotten eggs and those kinds of things. That's just because of the sulfur in the water. And then you have other water that might taste like it has poison in it. And it's just some of the minerals, raw minerals that we get right from a well. And it's drinkable. People live on it, cook with it, wash with it. But sometimes the taste can turn people off. It depends on what the source is. Now, some of the cons are, one of the main dishes of the mineral water, one of the main downsides of the mineral water is the cost. And when you're selling your water, you're probably a person's buying the water for 2 cents, and everything else is on the packaging. Now, that was the mineral water. Next, we go to the spring water. Now, this is usually the water that comes from the glacier. Where it's very cold in our country. We get the glacier water, and then we get the spring water. And these are the types of bottled waters that are claimed to be bottled at the source. And that means that they go there and then they do all the pumping, and they put the water in the bottles and so forth. Now, I'm not so sure that I really trust that situation happening as they say it does, because then you would also need to have your water in or even the packaging. That water should be into very clean or sterile supplies, and to supply the millions of bottles of water that are produced on a daily basis. You might want to do your due diligence and find out exactly how are they bottling water, if they're saying that they're bottling the water right there at the stream. Now, in theory, spring and glacier water should be relatively clean and free of toxins. They also contain many of the same helpful minerals found in mineral water. It also tends to be pretty readily available in stores. They have all kinds of private water now. Politicians have their own water. You have churches have their own water. You have the health food stores have their own water, so on. It also tends to be pretty readily available in places all around the world, like Evian and Arrowhead, in both large and small bottles, which makes it easier and more accessible. Now, some of the downsides of this is depending on how much water you drink. Now, most people say that 64 ounces a day, which is a gallon, is ample. But you have some people that drink about twice as that or even more. So, and I'm going to go over the hypothermia later on, so that you'll get a good idea of drinking too much. And then there are people that also experience polyuria, using the bathroom a lot, or nocturia. That's at nighttime. You're getting up over and over using the bathroom. And those of you that are holding too much water too long, that is called urine retainment. And that can lead to bladder infections, or this can and other bladder problems from holding your water too long. So answer the call when you get that call. Sparkling water. Now, sparkling water, just sometimes referred to as carbonated water or soda water. Sparkling water is infused with carbon dioxide. Now, we get rid of carbon dioxide when we breathe in the O2. We exhale the carbon dioxide, right? That's the CO2. And CO2 gas, that CO2 is what gives us the effervescence in the water. Now, why should you want to drink something that your body is getting rid of? So again, do your due diligence, find out why people would do things like that. And usually I'll tell you that it definitely is the buzz. It's the feeling of you drinking something that's enjoyable. Back to the entertainment. Entertainment is a hard, very difficult competitor, because it's competing to get all of your attention, even if it means not thinking about yourself. With that said, there are flavored sparkling waters that's available that do contain one or more types of sweeteners. Plus, because the sparkling water tends to be mineralized, think about like Perrier or San Pellegrino. All of these are waters that comes with that bonus of the minerals along with that. Sometimes they sweeten the water and make it a little more interesting. But the cons, the downsides would be that some of the minerals present in sparkling water, just some of them, there aren't enough to be truly beneficial to your health. This is just entertainment water. It's not the water that you can drink to keep you healthy. As a matter of fact, it's more expensive. It's less. It doesn't have enough minerals to supply or to serve the body, but it is an entertainment product. Distilled water. Now, this is a type of water that is boiled and is steamed and collected and condensed back into liquid. So you take this and you boil it, and then they take the precipitation or the steam, and that's what the distilled water is. And distilled water has no vitamins, it has no minerals, there are no health benefits. In fact, it has a potential to be detrimental as a non-mineralized water, and it tends to pull the minerals from where they can, in case that your body or needs to metabolize the water. It will pull from your skeletal system, and specifically your teeth, your oral health. So distilled water is good for iron, steamer, and other appliances, even like when you need a little bit, is too very like humid in your room, or wherever you are, the humidity is too much for you. Well, they have machines for that, and those machines use distilled water. Some people use just the regular water in it, but again, when you have that just in the air, it's a different effect, and you can use it as a therapy in the case that you're not breathing smoothly or breathing enough because there's not enough moisture in the air. Let's move on to purified water now. Now, the purified water is usually tap water, and it's also groundwater, which has been treated to remove the harmful substances like bacteria, fungi, and parasites. Now, this means that the water is pretty much guaranteed to be safe. But again, like everything else, you have to do your due diligence. There are different machines that do better than other machines. So purified water, like distilled water, purified water is a great option if your immediate water source is contaminated. You got it? So just like distilled water or purified water, if your source is contaminated, then this is a good go-to. And it's not something to go, from day to day. This, remember, is an emergency. Now, many countries purify their tap water. So you're basically drinking purified water every time you fill up your cup or from the kitchen sink. Is almost like purified water, because it goes also to a processing plant. And I kid you not, I've been there. I've been in the labs, and some of the best processes go on in that lab. They have some of the most wonderful processes to keep the water clean for us, to keep it and rid it of the bacteria, the fungi, and the parasites. This is super good. And because all potentially harmful substances are removed from purified water, you also miss out on some of the potentially beneficial ones that are added in the tap water supplies, like fluoride, for instance, which helps to reduce tooth decay. Now, some people say, no, don't drink that. That's bad for you, and that'll cause problems. The dosage is what is the problem, and that is when the stream or the water supply has an overdosage of fluoride. So far, there has been complaints and taste, but for the most part, the CDC, the USDA, and other different societies that police the water and do testing and so forth have not shared or reported any backlash or negative feedback when it comes to our water not being pure. Now, when it comes to our flavored and infused water, the flavored and infused water, flavored water is just like Propel, is just like Gatorade, and those types of water. Now, the flavor can be added naturally by infusing fruit and vegetables. and you can use other little sweeteners to make your own drink. The downside of the flavored and infused waters that the flavored waters contain added sugar, or they can use artificial sweeteners. And these artificial sweeteners, sometimes it can be levulose, galactose, maltose, sucrose. There can be a lot of sweeteners there to make that, more entertaining to your palate. Now, alkaline water. I want to take a little time on this because alkaline water has a higher pH level than the normal tap water, and it contains alkaline minerals and negative oxidation reduction potential, and that's called ORP. Now, the alkaline water must contain alkaline minerals and negative oxidation reduction potential. Now, the ORP, or the negative oxidation potential, is the ability of the water to act as a pro or antioxidant. Now, a pro-oxidant would be an oxidant that actually affects the cells. So oxidated cells, of course, are the cells that are rendered as the damaged cell. The antioxidant is what actually protects the cell. It prevents the cell from being damaged by oxidation. The more the negative of the ORP value, the more antioxidizing it is. So this is good to keep in mind because there are some facts about alkaline water that people have taken it a little bit too far. And this is why, because the fact is that this type of water has a higher pH level and has led people, and some people, to believe, this again is that belief system, to believe that it may help neutralize acid in the body. Think about that for a minute. This is they're talking about alkaline water that you can actually drink, and it can change your body's pH from an acidic value to a more alkalinic value. Well, it also, you've heard things like it helps slow aging, the aging process, and even prevent cancer. But there's very little scientific proof. Now, let's go back to the alkaline water, because most of you drink alkaline water because you've been told that alkaline water is the best water for you to drink. Now, alkaline water is the most popular drinking water. Now, some people, if you do drink acidic water, it still usually is more alkalinic than it is acidic. Now, if you have a big, like a lot of bottles like this that are sitting on the shelf in a storage room or into a supermarket, it can get a little stale, if you will, and that can cause the water to be flat, and it can cause it to be a little acidic. But even if that water, if that really, the water actually behaved the way that I'm sharing with you today, or about those people that believe that alkaline water makes you more alkaline, then that is actually just a myth. If it did, just give me this time to just explain. If it did just give you, if you were drinking water and it got, the water was, for instance, in your stomach. So it travels down, you just swallowed it and it goes down to your stomach. Now, if you're digesting food, what happens with that particular theory? That means that everything that is acidic in your stomach now will be neutralized because you're now drinking alkaline water. And drinking alkaline water neutralizes acid. in order for us to break down foods, we need HCl, and that we need the acids. Even pepsin is another one. So the all of the different hydrochloric acid and pepsin and other types of enzymes and acid, different types of acid, helps us to break down the food. So it's really and truly necessary. Okay. So we won't spend a lot of time on that because it's again, this is something that you can look into. It's generally safe to drink alkaline water, but it could reduce the stomach acidity, thereby lowering its ability to kill that harmful bacteria. And harmful bacteria would be Shigella, it'd be Salmonella, it'd be E. coli, it'd be Listeria. All of these are the different, Listeria. It will make a real big difference in what you're drinking, because we need these different acids and alkaline, because this is also the total balance of the body, and it gets down to Valencia. So the balance is really, really important. Let's go back to the antioxidant. The antioxidant is the substrate, and the substrate and antioxidant is just a substrate that prevents the oxidation of molecules inside a cell. And that's what we're talking about when you hear vitamin A, D, E, and K. These are antioxidants, and they work well. Vitamin C is also another antioxidant. So this is really important to know. It is well known. It is a well-known chemical process that allows the removal of electrons or hydrogen from a substance. Free radicals are produced during the biological oxidation reaction. Let's move on to give you a better idea here. When we talk about this, I know it's a little sciencey look, but it's not that deep. Whenever you have a cell that is unpaired with an electron, it goes and it seeks another electron. So it wants to be paired. A healthy cell is paired with an electron, or that cell will die. So these cells, in their intelligence, what happens is that they seek out other cells. If they seek out a cell that's already paired up, and you will see this negatively charged electron in the B gains electrons, what happens is that the reducing agent, or the good cell, is causing damage on the B gains electrons, and this kills the cell. But we do have a process where we replace those cells that die, and that's called apoptosis. Apoptosis is the natural process that our body goes through. When some cells die, they're replaced with other cells. And remember, the things that we eat, what we eat becomes the very material that we are. So if you want your body to be the kind of material that can heal fast, or you want it to be the kind of material that is soft and supple, and you have soft skin and healthy hair and healthy teeth and nails and all those things, very important that you take the responsibility to select those healthier foods and drinks. Now, simply, what is water? The most obvious fact about water is that it's wet, at least in a liquid state. But there are like many more facts about the water to make it a most fascinating substance. Now, one that all of life and on and in the earth depends on. Water is called the universal solvent. And that's because it dissolves more substances than any other liquid. It is the best solvent on the planet. And this means wherever water goes, either through the ground or through our bodies, it takes along valuable chemicals, valuable minerals, and valuable nutrients. Pure water, which is very rare, but the pure water has a neutral of 7. So the pH value of pure water is 7, which is neither acidic, and acidic is less than 7, nor is it basic, which is alkaline is another way to say basic, which is greater than 7. Now, the water molecule is highly cohesive, and that means that it is very sticky, and meaning that the water molecules stick to each other, and water is most likely to be cohesive among the non-metallic liquids also. Okay, so I'm going to move ahead here, and we're going to come back on, and let's do the again an acknowledgement of those people who are here. Kara, if you can come on up, it'd be wonderful.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Zarif. And thank you to everyone that's joined us here in the Mind of Nature. Today's topic is the best drinking water for you. We're talking all about water. And, you know, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. It is Dr. Farid Zarif. Thank you all so much. On Facebook, we are on YouTube and on Instagram. I see Chantel is watching over there, the sweetest Pete. Thank you so much. And Gentle Smart Shirley is over on Instagram. Thank you so much for coming back. I know we had some difficulties earlier. So happy that you're here. I see MJ Love Jones. Thank you so much for joining us today. Ron OJ says, hey, Sensei. And Allison Gentle, he was just giving us the update on the audio, says much better, Dr. Z. Thank you, Dad. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And you know, Dr. Zarif, it's Dr. Zarif. I said Zarif. It's just interesting to see how many different waters there are. You know, water being something that you would think is such a simple topic. You can have a complete day filled with just talking about different water and a different use of those different waters.
Well, you know, that's the whole thing. That's why I really wanted to talk about this. Before I move on, I want to give a shout out to Sweet Pea and Eric. Yeah. And I want to thank you all for being here, getting up in the morning. Yeah, that's on Instagram, Kara, if you're looking for it. I really wanted to talk about this because this is something that we take for granted. And when a person's body is dehydrated, wow, you can really, really see the effect. It's a huge difference between those people that were hydrated and those people that weren't. And by looking at the cadavers, which that you'll see like in the beginning of your med school, this is something that you get used to, but you start reading or looking at how smoke has affected the lungs. So you can look at how certain habits may have really affected the human body. So want to just give it up to the body, because the body is incredible, and the body continues to be incredible as long as we take care of it.
Yes.
And even when we do things that are deleterious to our body, our body continues to fight back. The body fights back. So we're going to get back on it and see if we have any questions. Everybody's listening. Thank you all so much for being here. This is a beautiful day. This is your day. So let's use it to the maximum. Humans are very happy when we know that we have two kinds of water. And one kind of water is called surface water. The other kind of water is called groundwater. Now, in the United States, we use about 275 billion gallons of water, and that's the surface water. That's the water on the surface, and that's the water that you can see, like seawater and river and so forth, and about 79.3 billion gallons of groundwater per day. So the groundwater is the water that is under our feet, along with the surface water is used more to supply drinking water and to irrigate the crops. Groundwater is vital in that it not only helps to keep the rivers and lakes full, it also provides water for people in places where invisible water is scarce, such as the desert towns and other places like that in the United States. Now, let's move along here I want to keep you on time, but we're doing really good. I want you to keep in mind that this is to help you to select the best water for you. Now, people, and I've heard Cat Williams say this too, that you cannot, create water. You cannot make water, but there is a way that you can make water. But he was absolutely correct. I mean, it is, first of all, it's very explosive, and it's for that explosion. In that, I was going to actually play some footage so that you all can see how to make water. But in theory, it's easy to make water from hydrogen gas and oxygen gas. Now, if you mix the two gases together, you add a spark of sufficient heat to provide the activation energy to start the reaction, and presto, then you have water. Now, if you even know, or you put that together, if you're not too good in science, it can throw you off. But it just simply means that you can mix the hydrogen and oxygen, you add a spark, and then you can get water. The reaction is a action that I'm not going to. If you talk about vigorously, I'm talking about the reaction is vigorously exothermic, and vigorously exothermic means that when you make it and you bring those two things together, the hydrogen gas and the oxygen gas, bam! But when you look at the result of that, you'll see water on the containers. It's in very little sprinkles, but this is how, on the very, very small, if you're making something like that at home or an experiment in the lab, you can simply show the students how water is made. Now, the water is super abundant, and now today there's many different ways that you can process water straight out of the air. You don't even need all the stuff that they used to, the old-fashioned ways. People have discovered ways to just extrapolate the moisture from the air, and you don't even have to pay for when you learn this, you don't have to pay, or you won't have a water bill, because you will know how to make your own water. The water is there. Knowing how to produce it, that is the challenge. Now, the water has a very high surface tension. In other words, the water is sticky and elastic, and it tends to clump together in drops rather than spread out in a thin film, like rubbing alcohol, for instance. Water molecules are also adhesive in that they stick to other surfaces. Both cohesion and adhesion make water molecules very sticky. Now, pure water, I keep saying pure water, but pure water is very, very rare. Pure water, which you won't ever find in natural environments. You just won't, because there isn't any pure water. And it does not, pure water does not conduct electricity. Water becomes a conductor once it starts dissolving substances around it. That's when it becomes a conductor of electricity. Okay. Now I'll move along to municipal water. Now, I talked about municipal water earlier. This is the water that you have in our neighborhoods. Municipal water in most cities and towns, municipal water comes from large wells, lakes, rivers, and reservoirs. So even when we look at the LA River, as it's called, for those of you that live here in California, and those of you that are tuning in from other countries, you have reservoirs, and these reservoirs, they actually are systems that collect the water, especially when it rains or when it floods. We have too much water. It is actually used to for the use of that particular community. The water at the treatment plants, again, you have to really think about how wonderfully gifted we are to do all the things that we do with water and to be able to use that water again. When it comes to municipal water, after the water has been filtered, water treatment plants, and we talked about that earlier, the water treatment plants add one or more chemical disinfectants such as chlorine or chloramine or chlorine dioxide. Now, these are all there to help to kill any remaining parasites, bacteria, or viruses. So that's why water can be pretty, it can be pretty dirty. I don't want to say dirty because that's like, you might just think of dirt, but it can be filled with bacteria and fungi, and it can also have parasites in it. And by the use of these different disinfecting chemicals, we can get rid of those things. And that is, again, I'm talking about all of our communities. You should find out where your water plant is in your community, because if you have any questions, you can go direct to that lab and get some answers. It reveals the various types of contaminants, like many of which are just pharmaceutical compounds. The United States Geological Survey, which is called the USGS, has conducted studies that have found the cotinine. Cotinine is, we're back to some of these contaminants that we find in water that we have to clean out. Another one is carbamazepine, and then caffeine, and then is diphenhydramine, among the list of other pharmaceuticals regularly found in water. So all these pharmaceuticals that we find in water, guess what? Now we have to change the filters in order to remove these pharmaceuticals, because although we do have filters and we can purify the water, some of the filters are not strong enough, or they're not effective enough to remove the pharmaceuticals. So not only am I talking about pharmaceuticals that we may be prescribed or use that we get from a script from our doctor, but it is these other pharmaceuticals that may be a result of the water being clean. Other types of water, we have potable water, fresh water, salt water, brackish water, hard water, soft water, distilled water, wastewater, black water, gray water, and raw water. All of these are some of your ears have just been divergenized now, because this is the first time you ever heard this. And this is really, really cool. Let's go ahead and run through this. You ready? Potable water or drinking water is fit for human consumption, which has undergone the appropriate treatment and can be consumed without any risk. This is potable water. It is clean and it's transparent, and it has no unpleasant odor or taste, and is free from any contaminants. That's the potable water. Next, we have fresh water. Your fresh water is found naturally in the earth's surface as ice, as water in wetlands, ponds, lakes, rivers, streams, and groundwater in aquifers. Now, aquifers are those cavities up under the earth that gather the water, that hold the water until that water is used. and that's the groundwater. Sometimes the groundwater has to be sucked out of the water, especially during these droughts and used in these different areas. It usually has a low concentration of dissolved salts and solids. Next is salt water. It's also called seawater. And this is found in the Earth's oceans and seas, and it has a concentration of dissolved salts at about 3.5%. Next is brackish water. Now, brackish water, the salinity of brackish water, and salinity is from saline. So we're talking again about that dissolved salt, and that gives it salinity. And the salinity of brackish water is somewhere between that of fresh water and seawater. The salinity of brackish water is not accurately defined. It can range between 0.5 to 30 grams of salt per liter. So this is brackish water. Brackish. You don't want to drink that. Hard water is next. Now, a lot of us have experienced. Now, hard water is drinkable, is high in mineral content, particularly in magnesium and calcium salts. It's also known as the calcareous water. And calcareous water is, you will see that in some, it depends on where you live, you will look at it right on your faucets, and you'll see it right in the around the area where the water may be standing after you run it, and it has the different types of chemical deposits there that have hardened through oxidation. Soft water contains very small amounts of dissolved salts. It may be defined as water with less than 50 milligrams per liter of calcium carbonate. So soft water has less minerals. And when it's hard water, you will find that the minerals, you can see the deposits in your shower and around your kitchen sink. Distilled water has no distilled water. Remember, everything is removed from distilled water. Distilled water is composed of water molecules, H2O molecules, having been purified or cleaned through distillation. Remember, heating up the water, and then the precipitation from that water becomes the distilled water. And distilled water is a good emergency go-to water, but not something that you should be drinking on a daily basis. Wastewater is next. Now, wastewater, you will see that for those of you that are in school, you will see this in the laboratory. You'll see signs that says, do not drink wastewater. Wastewater, do not drink. Wastewater, not for human consumption. You'll hear these kinds of signs because the wastewater is any type of water whose quality has been negatively affected by human activity. Human activity would be when we have a bowel movement, when we have, well, I'll spare you all the nasty stuff, but all of the stuff that goes in the toilet or sometimes in the shower, bath, all of that, and also the runoff water. Runoff water is when we actually have the water from the rain or floods, and we have the feces from animals like birds and dogs, cats, rodents. All of that is also washed down, and that's what we have to have these sanitation plants, because without them, we would definitely contract a disease, be infected, and we would perish. Within the black water, now, most of you haven't heard of black water, and black water is within the different kinds of used water. Black waters are those that have been polluted with feces and urine. So you see the connection there. The black water is the black water is the water or the runoff water. So you can keep that in mind. Gray water is domestic wastewater. Now, this means that it has less nitrogen and phosphorus than black water, and it contains organic and inorganic material and microorganisms. The gray water owes its name to its murky appearance, and because it is somewhere between potable fresh water and wastewater. So there's a mixture in there. You don't want to be in a situation that you have to drink it because, again, that water is contaminated. We're almost there. Raw water is next, and raw water is the water that has not undergone any treatment. This is just raw water. For instance, it just rained and it's just, the water is sitting there in the reservoir, and that is raw water, and is found in natural sources and reserves in surface and groundwater bodies. Okay, now we just want to talk to you briefly about processed water. Now, processed water is water that the processed water is water that is actually used for a variety of manufacturing processes, including boiler makeup water. You got cooling tower makeup water. You also have the coating and plating. You have rinsing and spraying and washing and many other what processed water is used for. Processed drinking water, however, is something different. Processed drinking water is purified, distilled, tap water. All of these can all offer different health benefits and potential downfalls. Now, I'm going to just go through with you some of the differences between these waters. We start off with the purified water. Purified water that has been filtered or processed to remove impurities like chemicals and other contaminants. Now, it is usually produced using groundwater or tap water. And that's using the groundwater or tap water. I'm saying that this is the body of water that's usually used to make purified water. Also, it's usually has some of the contaminants in this water: bacteria, algae, fungi, parasites, metals. And when I say metals, I'm talking about heavy metals like copper and lead. Also, chemical pollutants. Several methods are used to purify water commercially and in your home. So purified water does go through a process and is drinkable, but this is after it is processed. There are other ways too that the water is processed, and that's including coagulation and flocculation. Now, the flow of flocculation is the process ends up with positively charged chemicals that's added to the water to bind with negatively charged particles so that they can be filtered out. And this forms larger particles called floc. Then you have sedimentation. Sedimentation. Now, sediment, you know what that is. So this is due to its larger side. The floc settles to the bottom of the water supply, and it separates from the clean water. And so that's sediment. And the sedimentation is the process that we're speaking of, that I'm speaking of now. Another process, you've probably heard of this one, of course, filtration. And filtration is the clean water on top of the supply that flows through the numerous filtration systems made of sand. This is what your filters are made of: sand, charcoal, and gravel. That's why a lot of water can fall from the sky. It can be absorbed by the land, and then it can end up clean by the time it's in the aquifers because of the arrangement of the minerals. This removes the contaminants like dust and bacteria, chemicals, and viruses. And the earth itself, when the water is allowed to go through these motions, these processes, this is what it does. It cleans the water. And that's when you see people drinking straight from the water. You hardly ever see that anymore because water is so contaminated. And even if you were to talk about, drinking from nature, remember a deer, bears, cats, mountain cats, so forth. All of those animals, in many cases, they are, even if they do not defecate directly in the water, remember all of the bacteria that these animals carry on them. And that'll give you something to talk about. So that's filtration. Next is the disinfection. Disinfection is the process during the step. The chemical disinfectants like chlorine are added to the water to kill any remaining bacteria, viruses, or the viruses that may have survived the first few steps. It's important to note that water may be treated differently depending on where you're located, and you'll get different quality of water, and you'll get a different taste of water and a different smell of water. Okay. So where are we now? I know I just went up there. Oh, good. Not bad. You want to come on up, Kara? So, Kara, you have any questions that you would like to share about it? I know that was a lot of stuff, but I'm loving it.
Definitely a lot of information. The one question is, I wonder why there are so many different waters. And let's just talk about the drinking water, mountain water, spring water, alkalized water, whatever other water. I remember when there was just water. That's it. Outside of the things that you've mentioned, as far as like black water, of course, there's the sewage and that whole process. But I'm just talking about water that you just drink. It just seems like it's gotten so difficult, and some people don't know which water to choose or to drink, just because there's so many different ones. So I guess my question to you is, Dr. Zarif, what water do you drink?
All right, the water that I drink purified water. I drink filtered water. I have a filter here at home. Purified water is the water that you get from sometimes from the market. And those are the waters that I drink. I definitely filter the water. And it's we don't have enough time to go into part 2. We're going to have to do part 2 on this. But that's a good question. As a takeaway from this would be the purified water that is processed and put in bottle for us. The filtered water at home is another good source. If you're drinking alkaline water, then alkaline water is drinkable. However, just keep in mind the downsides of the alkaline water. So like if I go to your house and you say, would you like some water? I got some alkaline, there's 8.9 in alkalinity. If I drink a little of that water, if I drink just like I'm doing it just for thirst, it's not going to harm me. But those of us that drink cases of it and have a storage room filled, and that's all that you drink, you may be facing an imbalance in your system, because our body is perfectly balanced with the acids and the alkalines from the food that we eat, the way that we're created, and by the activity of our internal lab. So I wanted to say that, okay? Again, the difference, if you have distilled water isn't the best water for drinking. This is for emergency purposes. When people think that if you think that you're going to drink water and you become healthier because you're drinking water because it's alkaline, that everyone is not the answer. You can, this is very well, it's not just something that has just been published. This is very well published science, not an opinion. This is science. This is the water that you drink is the water, like pure water. Again, remember, pure water has been processed. And sometimes there are different chemicals that have been added to it in order for us to avoid the chemicals of bacteria, fungi, and any of the other contaminants. Okay. Was that a good answer? Faucet water is drinkable. Faucet water is drinkable. You just have to keep in mind the downsides, because they are, I want you to look, everybody can look up a different PFAS, and these are called the forever chemicals. And the forever chemicals are the chemicals that are used in making raincoats, the umbrellas, that the same material, the coating of the skillet, you know, that Teflon that people buy, those kind of products, all of that, these are, and in your toothpaste, your toothbrushes, the floss that we use, all of these things can have the forever chemicals in them. It is right now about 99.9%. Hear this: 99.9% of all Americans have at some point had the PFASs in them. So it is something that the scientists and doctors are working on, so we can get past this and know how we can have a more powerful filtration unit there, so that we can keep ourselves from being infected. Care?
All right. So, I mean, great information. Do you, is this our stopping point, or where are we right now with this as far as the live? We're going to
the live, what we're getting ready to do, so we're going to let everybody go because we want to honor your time. And I'm sure, Carrie, you have things to do. I got things to do, but we wanted to at least enlighten you on the things that we are faced with on a daily basis and give you more information. There's so much disinformation and misinformation. We got a lot of work to do. We're very serious about it, and we want you to have a better choice. If you're still drinking out of the faucet, you're not going to die from that. People live from that. Some people haven't ever had any, they don't buy bottled water. So you don't have to be afraid of it, but just know that there are some downsides. You know, if you're using that water, you can boil it, and that'll also kill even more bacteria. But you can still wash in it. You can still bathe. A lot of people still, they cook with it, but like even big soups and so forth. But then when they drink the they drink the bottled water. So it's like, wait a minute, aren't you getting the tap is in the soup and the stew? But you're just like, no, I just drink it out the bottle. It doesn't make any sense there.
I remember when I would drink the bottled water, but then let's say you make ice or ice tray. You put water in the ice tray from the faucet and freeze it and put it in the water that you just, purified. So it's kind of like you got to be on the same path with both of them.
And we got to get away from the fear. Most of the things that we've learned about health, and you can see because of the poor attendance when it comes to people learning more about their body, the market, the people that are responsible for marketing the different products have done such a great job that we have forgotten our own selves. We're not important to ourselves as we could be, because every time we hear about something, ooh, don't eat that, or something trending, is something like these things that, ooh, I'm going to eat this. This is, some people think that the answer to everything is sea moss, for instance. It's like there's some other foods. There's some really powerful foods that you can eat other than sea moss. Some people have a sea moss for everything. Look, I understand that it's a new discovery for those people that are just discovering it. And I understand that maybe the demonstrations given or the kind of entertainment in order here, take this. Yeah, sea moss is cool. You know, it's or Irish moss. You can use that, but just like anything else, too much of anything is not healthy for you. So, but don't tell me that I got to eat some sea moss in order for my headache to go away. And that's what works on you. And that's our problem as a whole, is that just because something works for you doesn't mean it's going to work for him or her. That works for you. That's good for you. You see, like Bruce say, that looks good on you. So it's really up to you. And I want to welcome Frederick Alexander. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. But really and truly, take time to take care of you. When you're at the position in life that you don't think about yourself internally, and you're just thinking about your hair or just your makeup and the clothes that you wear, but you're not taking care of the body, you need to pay more attention to what you're doing with your gift. This is a gift. I know I'm preaching right now, so I'll go ahead and pull back a little bit. So you get the idea. Right. That was, I'm sure I over answered your question.
No, I mean, that was great. That was great. I think some people may have had that same question too, because I think we all want to know what you're doing as well, because we see it, the example that you set. So
thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, you know, sometimes I want to take off my shirt and show off and stuff, but you know, it ain't even necessary. Do know the main thing, you know.
So, thank you all so much for joining us here today.
Hold on, young lady. This is what I want to do. I want to say that, you know, I understand when you're feeling good, you want to show it. You know, when you got nice clothes, you want to wear them. When you got nice shoes, you want to put them on. So it's the same thing with our body. We want to, when we want to show it off or you feel good, don't feel good just because you're dressing up, but feel good because you're getting natural energy from your body, you know, and stop telling people what to do. If that's what they want to do, go ahead, do your thing. But I'm going to set this example. When you see me, I'm not going to be, hey, can you pick up that dollar for me? I can't bend over and get it. You know, it's take care of yourself. We can be younger longer if we take our health more seriously. We can have that health. And health, remember, I'm not talking about fitness, because I know some of you can do more than 10 push-ups in a row. Woo. And you say, I'm fit, I'm okay. Just because you're in the weight room doesn't mean that you can be absent of or excluded from disease or infection or death or sickness or illness. You see, we've been fed that. So don't live on that. And lastly, I'm going to say this: stop being afraid. Many of the things that we learned that, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not. Whoa. A lot of that stuff. Look at the research. Look at the research. Research means that you have evidence. When people are just saying, this is what my grandma told me, this is what my granddaddy told me, a lot of that is some good information. But when you're talking about taking care of your body, learn the latest techniques out there. Learn the latest approaches to help you with your situation. There are women now that are forming a group to fight against the different poisons that they've been putting on their hair to relax it all these years. And they're claiming that many women have died because of the cancer, and many women have their entire hysterectomy, removed all of their reproductive system because of this formaldehyde that they're finding in the
relaxers,
the relaxers in the hair. Have you heard that yet, Karen?
I have, yes. I've seen few commercials and lawsuits about that. So
Yeah.
yes, I have actually.
So it's just like you see the natural hair. Hey, come, I know sometimes people think they look better one way or the other. It's up to you what you want to do with that. But make sure that you're not using those products that will put your life in danger. That's all I'm saying. Do what you want to do. You're grown. We're grown. We waited a long time to get grown, right? So it's like, all right, now that you're grown, here are some things that you do in order to keep yourself healthy. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and get out of here, Kara. Thank you very much, everybody. I want to thank everybody over here. Whoa, this is great. Those people that are here on Instagram, thank you so much for being here. And thank you, Kara, for, staying over, a little time so that we can, get this done. And that was really cool. We got challenged. Oh, man, the heat was on. But look what we did. We turned it around. We got it back together. And we want to thank you all. Thank you for the hearts. We love hearts. Thank you very much for sending those hearts. And that goes out to my Leah Jones. And it goes out to Allison Gento. And we really want to thank you all. And those of you that participated today. We'll see you next. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say a special shout out. Happy Mother's Day to my mom, Daphne Smith Gentle.
Happy Mother's Day, Miss Gentle.
Yes. Happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers out there, whether you are past, present, or soon to be moms. Anyone that's given mothers love. May your day be filled with love, joy, and laughter.
Or I was going to just add on there as we probably got a little delay, but what I was going to add it on there, this apple tree is an apple tree, whether it bears fruit or not. So those people that have bear children, we're talking to you, Happy Mother's Day. And those who haven't bear children, we're talking to you too. Happy Mother's Day. And we love you. And without you, it wouldn't be us. Go ahead, Karen.
Absolutely. I agree to that. We are here every Saturday, 8 a.m. PST. So thank you all so much for joining us. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. It is Dr. Farid Zarif. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next week, 8 a.m. Peace.